Hey everyone, so today we're going to be talking about Jerome. Now, this hero I think is just absolutely fantastic. He's one of the few heroes, and I do have another hero that I'm interested in reviewing and showcasing. But he is one of the few heroes in the game that actually has this condition where his attacks not ignoring. He can't trigger critical strikes. Now, there's a couple other heroes in the game that have this that are really, really good, right? The first one is Alicia. So Alicia has this, I actually believe she was I can't remember if she came out before. Oh, no, I don't think she was the first one. I think Jabez was maybe the first one. Anyway, her not being able to trigger critical strikes, when all of this first came out, it seemed like it was a bad thing, but it's actually become very strong, just because it gets around things like Dragon Scale gear, which is usually on a lot of tanks, so it makes them kind of more deadly, and Jerome falls within this. But another, couple of heroes that have this is obviously Divine Yolanda, who is known to be like one of the best heroes in the game, right? Nothing she does critical damage or anything like that. And then now we have Jerome, which we're going to review today. But the other one that I'm kind of interested in is Naya. So I know she came out kind of just as a Ralph counter, but I also think that she has some potential to be really good. So maybe in the future we'll review her. But today is about Jerome. Now, let's go through his kit. Let's talk about some things, because this is a souped-up Jerome that is ascended, right? So, right now, we'll talk about his trait. So, attacks ignore 100% of the target's defense, which is a crazy trait, but can't trigger critical strike. And then when an enemy gains defense up, he gains Sharpened Edge for 1 turn. Now, Sharpened Edge says when attacking, increases the damage based on the target's defense. When attacked, it reduces damage received based on the attacker's defense. So anytime you're going up against some heroes that have really high defense, and there are a couple in the meta, it's amazing what he can do. This guy just one-shots everybody. It's nuts. Now, this Jerome is actually Ascended 5, and whenever he's Ascended 5, he actually gains a bonus turn. This is really big. It can be a downside, against someone like Cordelia, which is really prevalent in the meta. But at the same time, it's kind of cool how you can proc and trigger his extra turn by, introducing some people into your teams that kind of counter the meta right now. So that's his trait, right? So he does a lot of damage to heroes that have high defense. So he deals 90% damage to one enemy and gains Sharpened Edge again on the basic. You can trigger this right away, though, whenever somebody gains, the defense up or whatever, just throughout the round. He has a special ability that deals 120% damage to one enemy, recovers health equal to 50% of the damage dealt on his special, and gains attack up 2 for 2 turns. This is really cool. I will say that he truly doesn't even need the attack up 2, but it is nice. But the other part here, it says, when attacked by enemies with defense up, it reduces damage received by 30% and launches a counterattack with this ability, and that's up to 1 time per round. So, defense up, there are a couple characters within the game that do this, and we'll talk about those in a second, how he directly counters them. And then his ultimate ability, so he gains Sharpened Edge for 1 turn before he attacks, and then deals 195% damage to one enemy and applies Unhealable that can't be resisted to them for 2 turns. If the enemy is killed, it resets the ultimate ability's cooldown. This is an amazing ultimate. So again, even though the Sharpened Edge really helps against defense-based heroes, even heroes that are kind of tanky and not based around defense, someone like Vengeful Hassle, Shark Salandre, they're still kind of built tanky. This Sharpened Edge buff does a lot for them. Really does a lot for Jerome. He can deal like anywhere from 40,000 to like 90,000 damage on this skill. It's absolutely nuts. And then the crazy thing is if he kills somebody, you get to use this again. It's pretty nuts. The unhealable, that's unresistible, is good, but it can also be a downside because one of the main people that you're trying to kill with him is Shark Soul Andre, and because this will always land, you're going to get that counterattack from Shark Soul Andre. So the nice thing with Jerome, and it's similar to like Alicia, right, is you really don't need any kind of stats for him other than his attack because he can't critical strike, so crit damage is irrelevant. And then you want him, to have enough health to survive, or enough speed to go. So this is exactly how you would build someone like Alicia or Divine Yolanda, right? Which is just really high attack, and then you're trying to get them to go first. Precision's nice, just in case you weak hit. You really don't want that. But anyway, these are the stats that I have on him, which is the 8,700 and 331 speed, which is pretty quick. So he has some pretty nice gear on him. It's all, Raider gear, and then you also have the relics. So let's talk about some of the heroes that he actually counters. If you go into the index, you can go down and you can look at defense up as a buff. These are the heroes, and it's kind of I guess tricky because some of these heroes have it on their trait, like Zoltan, right? So Zoltan has his trait where he receives these enchanted blade stacks where he increases his defense, but it's not a defense up boost, so don't get tricked by that. Royce, though, is a very common character in the meta because he does counter a lot of things, but whenever he removes a control effect on somebody, he gains defense up too. This can actually trigger Jerome's extra turn, if you have him ascended 5. You have people like Jocasta that's very prevalent in the meta. She grants team-wide defense up, so that will trigger his extra turn. Ashlyn, on her ultimate, for her stun, she grants defense up too, to herself and the ally with the highest highest defense. You have people like Silent, who can be kind of in lower end arena. She's annoying. Who else do you got in here? The big one is obviously Nero. Whenever Nero gets hit, he actually has this plus 15 defense on Frostguard. So even though Frostguard doesn't say defense up, it actually will trigger Jerome's bonus attack. So, let's talk about some of these teams in here, if maybe we can find one or two of them. I do want to try and trigger. Okay, so here's a good one. It's going to be a little tricky just because the Dark Twin is in here. But let's say, we want to trigger, Royce's ability, which is usually a bad thing, right? But because of that, Jerome is going to get an extra turn. So let's just bring in some people here. Let's bring in our own Jocasta or something like that. I'm trying not to get one shot by this bocce. Let's bring Kelowna, maybe? Okay. So here you'll see the Aurea is going to trigger Royce. He's going to cleanse, right? So here's Jerome. So he just got that bonus turn. So he has 2 turns this turn. Obviously, the Dark Ophelia pushed everyone back to the end of the line. So that's why Jerome didn't take a bonus turn like automatically. You see everything's kind of getting pushed back. But here, sorry, you're kind of seeing. Okay, so he just one-shot bocce, right? So he one-shot bocce, really cool. And now what he's going to do is he's going to calculate the defense that Royce has. He's going to calculate it onto his own damage. So you see how much damage he actually does here. So 43,000 damage. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's kind of Jerome. He is just a menace for defense units. One, because he goes very fast, right? A lot of defensive units are kind of tanky, but he one-shots Neros, he one-shots Atara, he one-shots Royce, he one-shots Zoltan. You know, the list goes on and on. So, very strong hero. You know, maybe even you know, a team like this. This is more Dark Ophelia. So let's try this one. Let's see how much damage he can actually do to like a Vengeful Hassle. Let's see if this is doable. So here, remember, Vengeful Hassle has, you know, damage reduction for the first turn. It's nuts. His defense is probably high, but his HP, I think, should be a little higher. So this is actually a real baby Vengeful Hassle, right? Most Vengeful Hassles should have like 40,000 some HP. But he just goes in there and he one-shots these people. Now, when you're going up against a more well-geared Vengeful Hassle, he's probably going to take off anywhere from, you know, 2/3 to maybe like half of his HP, which is huge, like really, really strong. And then on top of that, you know, same thing with Shark Solandre, and everyone in between. So I actually think he's a really strong character. He is a PvP unit, 100%. I do think that the extra turn from his Ascended 5 is very, very strong. But I wouldn't say that it's, you know, absolutely necessary. You know, I think the extra turn is super cool. But at the same time, he's still getting the job done if you can build him really fast with his Ascensions. You know, the attack is and the speed. Those are probably the two main things that you need for him to really be competitive. But yeah, extremely strong. You know, same thing with Alicia, same thing with Divine Yolanda, and I'm hoping Naya, you know, kind of works the same way. But yeah, it's just a quick little video on Jerome, and that's all I got for you guys today. So hope you enjoy. Catch you on the next one. See ya.